You ready, Cassie? Alrighty, it's 10 o'clock or shortly thereafter. Call the Infrastructure Committee to order. Notice was promptly posted on the 9th of November. Item 1, approve our minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 2 is the TIF 2 and TIF 2A budgets.
No
Anything?
changes.
Okay, unless there are questions, we'll do no action. 3 is our capital improvements list. Stacy, anything here?
Yeah, it was attached to the agenda. I did add the night floor HVAC to it, I think, since the last time. And the rest of it's the same.
Okay, other than that, there were no other changes. Any questions of Stacy?
No, I'll move to receive report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 4 is discussion regarding our ARPA projects list. And we have Mr. Jess Eddy that would like to address us regarding that item. Jess? What's that? Okay. All right. Stacy, is there anything new here?
We do have the memorandum of understanding for the existing jail projects, and it should be on the agenda Wednesday for the commissioners, and then I'm not sure when it goes on for the trust, but that we're finally advancing that.
And that'll be inclusive of all the projects?
Yeah, the 3.
Perfect.
That's
Okay.
on here.
All right. Then, Jess, I assume you're here regarding the action that was taken by the trust to request up to 1.5 million in ARPA funds. I don't know if the 2 other offices are aware. If you watched the meeting, well, Miles is on the trust, so you're probably aware that their trust is requesting some funds to help remodel the first floor. And so since that is, if ARPA funds were used, it would be similar to the projects that you just mentioned that we're doing an MOU with, because last time the trust was evaluated for the use of ARPA funds, they were deemed to be a high risk, which would have required a reimbursement. I would anticipate that if that request to do the remodel using ARPA funds is something that is vetted by a censure and given a green light, it would be a similar type arrangement as well.
Right,
So
we'd have to come back and amend that MOU, but I'd like to go ahead and put it on for Wednesday.
yeah, no, Stacey, I
Yeah.
don't want to delay those projects because this is a completely new request. That's really not even begun the vetting process yet. So just to make everyone aware, I think that's what Jess was here for. Yeah.
And I have so is there a draft, is there an existing draft MOU or you're working on it?
No, it's completed. We've been working on it. Lisa here put the finishing touches on it.
Okay.
Last week,
And that'll go on
Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else on this item?
I'll move to receive report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Five is an item brought to us by Hannah related to the JJC and the potential use of space being vacated by Human Services.
No artist or
Thanks, Hannah. Is there a motion to receive these?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so what you have before you is our current layout on the second floor. So DHS has given us the go ahead to do a modified contract for the remainder of the year. They currently lease half of the third floor and all of the fourth floor. They're going to be moving completely out of the fourth floor and just onto their half of the third floor. So in their renovations, one thing that we didn't realize was their reception is going to open up about 10 feet or so, Jackie, from the DA's office. That presents a security concern that the DAs have brought forward, saying, we're now sharing a hallway, almost sharing a reception with the people whose children we've removed. We've had some DAs get attacked. We've had some just issues with that already. And so they're very concerned about that being about their reception, almost touching DHS's reception. They have requested to be moved. In the layout you have before you, the first page is the current layout of the second floor. The yellow is my staff, and we are busting at the seams. The pink is the court clerk, who also, within our discussions of what we do with the space, should we move more courtrooms out to JJC, which I know has been in talks, if we do or don't put courtrooms out there. If we do, the court clerk will have to expand also. And then the green is where the PDs are now. The DA has requested to move to the fourth floor. The second page you have is the current fourth floor. The blue is where the DA is now. And then the third page is the area of the fourth floor that the DA would like to move into.
So the second page is the fourth floor, not the third floor.
The second page is the third floor. That's where the
third floor,
DA
okay.
is right now. So that's current layout. Third page is the proposed layout of the fourth floor that the DA would like to move into.
And it's empty right now?
It is. It will be. So the DHS has said they will be operational on the third floor December 1st. They will be completely out of the fourth floor, and it will be open for us to lease, renovate, whatever we need to do on January 1. If we were to put courtrooms out there,
Yeah.
sorry.
I don't mean to cut you off. But
Yes, please.
part of this is, I appreciate you bringing it. You've done a great job of keeping a surprise. Part of this may be a little bit premature because of the courtroom discussion.
Yes.
My understanding was that if that were to occur, you would go from 2 to 4. Is that right?
Yes, we would prefer
potentially.
that courtrooms would go on 2
2.
because of the infrastructure, the security for the judges. To put the original thought was fourth floor is vacant. We need to put courtrooms somewhere. Let's put courtrooms on 4.
DHS would be on 3.
Yes.
And who else?
It's DHS and the DA's office.
Currently, the DA's.
And then social services are all on 3.
Okay. And
right
so
now.
the DA would like to move.
To 4, and then the PD would go to where the DA is now to make room on 2 for potential courtrooms or expansion of the court clerk.
I think on this coming Wednesday's PBA meeting, there's going to be some discussion relative to the issuance of bonds and the potential of including those courtroom projects in that issuance.
Okay.
So I think we may have some more clarity following those meetings as to whether or not all of this is going to occur.
Okay.
And absent the moving, though, the DA will note that the DA would still like to move.
Yes. And how it stands currently, we would not need to do significant renovations to move the DA or my staff. We would move into the already built out layout. We would renovate as I can in my budget for the building. We would not need to renovate in order for us to move into it.
And I'd like to hear that actually from the DA's office too, that they're not asking for anything.
Sure. Yeah, she's here.
You don't need any build out, no nothing.
We need some office walls built in the current space as it's set out, but
Right.
there have been discussions about Esther Brock and his crew are more than
Okay, if
capable
you'll
of
get
building
us
the
some
walls.
cost guesstimates on that.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not anything I can't absorb
Right
now.
Right. Do y'all have anything?
We're talking like 2 office walls. We're not talking extensive renovation.
Take us back quickly to the beginning, the reception concern that you
Yes.
walk me through that again.
So originally, when DHS said they were moving down to 3, I wasn't a part of those discussions, but I know that once we realized how open the reception area was going to be, And then as DHS has been transitioning down, there is a lot of DHS presence on that floor now, where before that was really an employee only section that DHS used. So there wasn't ever a lot of cross traffic between the DA and DHS. Now it's going to be where everyone goes, where they go for visitation, where they go for, child support issues, all of that. And then we're sharing a 15-foot hallway in the front with the same people whose children they took away. And
I
so,
understand
yeah.
the concern, the cause for concern, but just on these layouts that you've provided us,
So
where
it's
am I
not,
looking?
So-
the reception area, each office would have their own internal reception space. But as soon as you walk out onto the floor, you either turn left to go to the DA's office or right to go to the DHS main office, like their reception. And so it's that floor space right there, that's where the stairs are, that's the hallway to the bathroom, that's the hallway to the elevators. So it's that space right there that we're discussing, and the conference room that DHS has now reconstructed right there is also right in that space, which is where they'll be having, meetings and stuff with their families. So the reception would be the main hallway reception.
And we're talking about this little space right here. So this bottom part of the blue, this is the opening for the reception for the DA. The opening for DHS reception is right here, on the other side up here. So we're
Okay.
talking from me to Stacy, probably.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
And then the one bathroom on the floor that all.
Right.
And that is an action item that may or may not be addressed depending on some of these other answers, or you need some
Well,
activity
so
right now.
Really,
period.
regardless of what we do with courtrooms, we need to move the DA. So whether we put courtrooms out there, whether we don't, I feel like there's enough of a security concern, and security is different at JJC than it is here. It's not better, it's not worse, it's just very different. It's a different presence, it's a different requirement. It's very different. And so I feel like, and the judge feels like we really do need to move the DA. It's going to be a problem. So we recently, due to the first floor lobby construction, had to move a judge onto the third floor in a conference room space very temporarily. We were not able to satisfy the security concerns, and that judge had to move back. So she's currently in her courtroom right next to and we're working very hard. The contractors are working very hard to keep the noise down, but she would rather be in her courtroom next to the construction than to be on that floor, if that gives you any kind of a indication. Like I said, security isn't better or worse out there. It's just very different, and the presence is very different.
And if we move forward building courtrooms on the first floor, does court clerk stay there and expand, or you see them up on the fourth floor? Or what's
No, the court clerk would stay on two, whether
Yeah.
they stay in the middle in the pink where they are now, or if we move them around to make room for courtrooms, but they would not move from that floor.
then
It would be it's a highly utilized by the public and by the court, so it would need to stay on that floor.
so are you planning for your staff to take up the remainder of the fourth floor?
I was, because if we're not going to renovate until bond, or not at all, I have 30 staff in offices right now that would take up the remainder of those individual offices.
Get us some cost. I'd hate saying, yes, go forth and give a blank check, even though you say it's gonna be minimal. History tells us that anything related to space utilization and build out generally costs more and takes longer than we thought. So I think we're probably open to it, but additional information.
Even for the DA section.
Even for the DA, yeah. I mean, because what happens is if it's more than you anticipate you can absorb in the budget, then you're coming here asking for additional funds out of. So if we just have a good idea of what we're getting ourselves into, I think it makes sense.
I agree. Let's just know.
And bring that back to this board.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Hannah. Okay, thank you.
I
Right,
move to
anything
receive
else?
report.
There's a motion to receive.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Keith, item 6 is our elevators.
The third elevator in the courthouse is up and running. It has been for some time and it's working properly with the other elevators in sequence. They're finishing up some data work now that will display just exactly what is happening with the elevators. So we'll have a better understanding when we have a problem and we can respond much quicker when we do. The only other thing we're waiting on is the elevator inspection for that elevator, and then we'll be ready to go. At that time, I anticipate Stacy will go over and beg for the TIF money that we should have coming back to us on that project.
Good news. Okay.
So the elevator's operating, but it's not in service, waiting inspection?
Awaiting inspections.
Do you have it anticipated? I know,
I called for that information this morning and they're reluctant to give any kind of a date.
I'll move to receive report.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 7, Keith, is you as well. It's related to the build out of the old snack bar in the annex for DA's customer service area.
Yeah, we've been working with the DA on a rough plan. We're assembling cost estimates now as to what that will be. A simple intake and exchange counter there, but
You had said you thought pretty comfortably under 10,000,
I believe so.
and you did or didn't have those funds within your budget?
No.
And Stacy, what are we in our capital as needed? Do you know?
I think you're
We're going to be
close
good.
to the 300,000
Okay.
to work with.
All right. When you have that, looks like we have some money to help you.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's a rarity, isn't it? All right. Good.
I'll move to receive report.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 8 is our owner's rep report. Good morning.
Good morning. First off, elevators as a whole, the schematic design has been received, reviewed, and comments back to the architect. So they're continuing with their design on the schematic design for all the elevators. Juvenile justice lobby, as you heard, we are under construction and the footings were poured last week. So they're making very good progress on that project. Definitely anticipate completion prior to the May 30th contractual deadlines. Social distancing, the asbestos abatement was awarded last week. We have not received the schedule from the contractor yet. No change on court clerk, jury pavilion, sheriff office, Midwest City. The design was reviewed and last week they're proceeding with their CDs, construction drawings, and that remains on schedule. Clerk books, obviously purchasing is on the 3rd floor now, and that's proceeding as originally scheduled. 3rd floor purchasing, waiting phase 2 asbestos schedule. As soon as we have that, we'll update the end dates for those build outs on the 3rd floor. 1st floor annex security is complete. The drawings have been reviewed and the comments have been addressed, and we're waiting for Stacy or engineering to put it on the street. And I don't know that date right now, late November.
We're finishing up final drawings for the court clerk and their books. That should finish before Thanksgiving, and I can put this on the street right after Thanksgiving, and try to secure the bids.
So late November is sort of what we've been shooting for the whole time. So we're on track. Drainage culverts, no change, on track. Juvenile justice roof, they've made great progress. The weather has been cooperative and we should hopefully finish a little before February 2024. So we're moving forward with that. Security is complete. Again, the elevators all are the same. Behavioral health, I understand the CM at risk and the site are still under consideration. And as soon as we know those, we can update the schedule there. Existing jail, all the existing jail projects, we have the MOU Wednesday, and the contracts I think are being prepared, and we'll be able to release HVAC, the roof, and the metal roof. So things are progressing pretty well. Just get a couple of the details and I's dotted, T's crossed, and we'll release the balance of the work on the jail.
The jury pavilion,
Yes.
um, would you say it's unlikely that that project's gonna go?
Yes, it hasn't been officially removed from my budget as a deduct, but I've heard no progress on that.
All right.
Last time I talked to the court clerk, he was still interested in that project, so I'm not sure of the status of it.
Oh, Lord. What's the status?
The, again, that was awarded, the asbestos was
Sorry, I
awarded.
misheard you earlier. I got you. I'm with
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
So,
I misheard.
As soon as we get the schedule from the contractor, we'll update that.
I'm good. I misheard earlier.
And then on that one, the design portion, is that moving along?
We
That
have,
has been,
we have some preliminary design with Small, and they're a couple weeks out.
okay.
What's the dollar figure on the jury pavilion?
I think it was,
$250,000. It's not a large project, but the concept was to basically close that alley in, which means no more cranes in the alley, no more deliveries. There's conflicts between uses of the alley if that project goes forward. So that's something that the leadership will have to figure out.
Okay, all right. And then Cassie informed me, thank you, Cassie, that the document you have before you, the list, was just presented at this meeting, so we'll need to receive it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you, I was a little late on the holiday.
Okay, all right. And then is there a motion on his update?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Stace, item 9 is the Citizens Advisory Board update.
They did not meet this month, but we did hold interviews for the contractor selection for the new jail. That went well, and we're in deliberations on who we might select. And I'd probably be a follow-up meeting next week with the interview committee.
Okay. Is there a motion to receive that update?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Citizens participation? Anyone? Okay. Board comments? Charles?
None.
Dawn?
No, thank you.
None here. New business? Seeing none. Motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think I'm good.
Okay, being past 10:15, call PBA advisory to order. Notice the meeting was posted on November the 9th. Item 1 is approve the minutes of the 23rd
I'll move approval of the minutes
and November the 2nd. Sorry.
of both.
Okay. Is there a second? Yes. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Item 2 is discussing possible action on our ARPA capital projects. This is Stacy's item. Do you want to handle this under Mr. White?
Yes.
Okay, Jess, you had said you might want to speak here, same as previous? Okay. All right, so that is related to the request from the trust last week for $1.5 million consideration of ARPA for a first floor remodel. And the explanation is same as I gave in the previous. It's really early in the vetting stages. And Accenture was just made aware of this, I think, about the same time, late last week. So, yeah. Okay. All right. So that will be item 2, no action. Item 3 is our OG&E.
We're actually down the road on this and ready to bring a contract to the PBA for signature.
Perfect. Okay.
Should we strike this agenda item then?
Yep. That
Okay,
sounds great.
I'll move to strike.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Item 4 is the item that's related to the possible issuance of bonds. Generally, this was dispensed of in our special meeting and should be considered by the PBA. Jess, it's noted that you're signed up on this item. Okay.
Should I move to strike?
Yes.
Okay, so moved. Oh,
Hi, Renee. Yes.
Thank you, Renee Troxel, Court Administrator. Just want to again reiterate the court's desire to have courtrooms on the second floor of the Juvenile Justice Center for our probate, guardianship, and adoption dockets. Guardianships have the same ADAs, same DHS folks, same everybody working on those, and it makes sense for those courtrooms to be out there. The adoptions also are something that can be handled out there, and probate goes along with those dockets. As you're considering the bonds, I know there's been a lot of different talk about what to do. I think as you articulated in the special meeting, Joe, ideally for the courts, we would like to have the second floor space at Juvenile built out for courtrooms, at least 3, and the court clerk's office extended. It is not ideal for us not to move the court clerk's office here to the 5th floor. Ideally, our court clerk's office would be in the 5th floor, and once that's accomplished, we could build out additional courtrooms on the 4th floor. As you know, we're the 20th largest city right now, and as Mayor Holt said, we're the 6th fastest growing. So while we've got 2 temporary spaces going into the courthouse right now, we are going to again be asking the legislature for additional judges for Oklahoma County. And the fastest and most prudent way to do that moving forward is to put those courtrooms at the Juvenile Justice Center. Thank you.
Yeah, Renee, thanks again. Wednesday, if you'll take a look at the agenda to make sure perhaps you're the presiding or
I will do
from
absolutely
the
my
courts.
best to have the
Okay.
judges here, but know that I am speaking on their behalf. It's not just what Renee wants.
Right.
But I will
right.
do my
That's
best to have
understood,
them
but-
here depending on their docket loads.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to receive?
receive that report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 5 is Mr. White and the ARPA owner's rep.
Joe, I
For
was
the
gonna go ahead
PBA.
and move to strike that item 2.
Oh.
Do you think we need to leave it on there?
I don't see a need.
No,
It's
I'm-
in the hands of the PBA at this point. Go ahead,
Strike
Charles.
item number 4.
Okay, is there a second to strike? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now, Mr. White.
Good morning again. Emergency ops. The schematic design had its final review. It's progressing and moving forward. So all stakeholders have had their opportunity to make any minor adjustments. And we're going forward with the DD and CD design. Again, the elevators were as previously stated. Schematic design has been submitted, reviewed. commented on and back to the architect and engineer record. Security system for the PBA, Metro 1 and 2. We do have a request and need for additional funds for the electrical service. This is convenience 110 for the electrical there. We're reviewing the estimates as they come in, and we should have that probably next week. And finally, ICB remodel, again, coordination with the interior design, with the exterior design, and I do not have the status on the outside rendering.
Stacy, do you have anything on the prospects for the outside design?
Both companies have been procured and they have met with each other, so they're working together. Just beginning though, to work together on that project. And I understand the DA is moving this week off of 5 into their temporary space. So we can really get that 5th floor started and this ICB fired up.
Okay. All right. Anything else? We do need to receive this document as well, so we can get motion to do that.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There was one additional item on
Oh, sorry.
ICB. There is going to be a requirement for an interior stairs.
Yeah.
So, which will affect the exterior also.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All righty. Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to receive his report?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 6, I thought we had
strike two.
struck, but yeah, let's go ahead and do
I'll
that.
move to strike it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Citizens' participation? You know, Jess, we can't respond to questions.
Question, a subject on the agenda?
What item, and we could reopen that item.
Yeah, thank you. The agenda item that you were discussing, the vetting process for the $1.5 million, I think it was 2. Might have been, yeah. Number 2. Yeah, you
this-
don't have to respond. I mean,
Okay, yeah, go ahead. 'Cause it's
I just-
really let me explain why we're probably not reopening, because this is a PBA advisory, and that's the trust. And that project that you would be a BOCC, so. Different committee,
oh, okay.
but go ahead.
Okay, I'm just curious because you remarked that that it was early in the vetting process, and I'm just not familiar with the vetting process, the length or the procedure. I was just wondering if you could enlighten me on that. If not, I can ask you after the meeting. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else? All right. New business. Adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.